fun dip, exploding gum, and licorice that can kill. In this video, we'll take a look at some of the most dangerous candies ever made, starting with tamarind lollipops and working our way up to the most dangerous candy you've ever seen. Number 10, tamarind lollipop. Oh, lollipops, a kid's favorite for generations. There are so many flavors and shapes, you can't ever try them all, and yet somehow people keep making more kinds. Unfortunately, people also make really dangerous ones like these tamarind lollipops. The problem with these lollies started when a 2-year-old boy from Orange County, California was discovered to have an incredibly huge and clearly risky quantity of lead in his system. Where did all that lead come from? You guessed it, the lollipops. The lead in the lollipop wrappers was as high as 22,000 parts per million. Yikes! Wondering why lead poisoning isn't safe? Well, you could get stuff like abdomen pain, joints aching, constipation, vomiting, loss of appetite, and it'll also make you feel tired. There's also the risk of getting a learning disability or slow growth. Sounds terrifying, right? Stay away from the lead lollies, kids. They are really terrible on more than your teeth. Number 9, lolly pipe. Just like cigarettes, the danger in the lolly pipes is their shape. This one is even more dangerous because it wasn't even made for kids. The lolly pipe was made to be this full candy pipe that looks just like the pipe adults use for smoking. They could even be used to smoke because they're smoke resistant and fire cannot burn the actual pipes. The candy was meant to be sold to adults, so it was only sold online for a long time. Then when it started to get sold in stores, kids started to get curious and parents got very worried. The danger was that if their kids saw how they were used, they would try to smoke like the adults. Everyone knows that children are huge copycats. Thankfully, the candy got sent back to the online stores and can no longer be found in physical stores. If you think these are dangerous, things are about to get even worse. Keep watching to see what's next. Number 8. Extremely energy candy. Energy drinks are kind of a big deal for adults. They're so popular that the only things some people consume more are multivitamins. Energy drinks are supposed to fill you with quick energy for mental alertness and physical performance. That's why they're usually liquid substances. No one can get energy from solid food that fast. It turns out some candy makers thought another great way to get energy fast is through candy. Candies offer a hit of sugar that could fuel you, but it's a whole different spectrum when you want these candies to give instant energy. That's why the extremely energy candy made the authorities really worried. This worry got worse when they found out how dangerous it is. When they looked into it, they discovered it contained a chemical called tantalofil. This chemical is so dangerous it could poison you. Too much of it could make you blind and deaf. That's not even the worst part. You could get low blood pressure, a stroke, or even a heart attack. No wonder this candy was banned. There's even prison time for anyone who decides to sell it. Extreme candies call for extreme measures. Number 7, jawbreakers. Getting a whole large jawbreaker in your mouth is probably impossible. Even the smaller sizes are pretty hard to chew. That's enough to make it dangerous, but there are a couple of even worse reasons why jawbreakers are not exactly a good idea. You're probably going to be shocked to know that it's not because of the sugar. Jawbreakers are some of the biggest choking hazards. And death by choking is super painful, so you might want to stay well away. There's even a movie called Jawbreakers about high school kids who killed the prom queen by stuffing her with jawbreakers. Must have been such a painful way to die. Another reason it could be dangerous is because of how dangerous it is when hot. How do you get hot candy? Well, some folks decided to check what a microwave jawbreaker looked like. Choking and possible burns are reason enough to leave jawbreakers to the kids and Ed, and Eddie. Number 6, candy cigarettes. Everyone knows cigarettes are dangerous, right? But it doesn't stop people from loving them, though. It doesn't even stop people from giving this candy to kids. Okay, not the exact stuff in cigarettes goes into the candy, but they look exactly the same. The candies are shaped exactly like cigarette sticks, and even come from famous cigarette cartons. A long time ago, some of the most popular cigarette companies even used their logos and brands to help market these candies. It's pretty obvious this was a terrible idea, right? A child could pick up a real cigarette, thinking it's a box of candies, and set the couch on fire. It didn't even help that some of them came with powdered sugar at the tip that looks like smoke when you blow it. Bad idea. Candy has no business looking this dangerous. Number 5, Three Musketeers. There should be almost no way to make chocolate a bad thing. It even comes from fruit, so that should make it super healthy, yes? Well, it turns out that adding a ton of chemicals to chocolate can make it terrible for your health. Three Musketeers candy is supposed to be one of the healthiest out there. It has a light and fluffy center, and the manufacturers call it the lighter way to have chocolates. Well, this healthy chocolate contains up to 9 tablespoons of sugar in each bar. That's like eating 3 Krispy Kreme donuts at once. That sounds pretty unhealthy already, and yet there's more. It has very dangerous fats. Trans and saturated fats could cause major problems to your heart health when you get older and can be pretty fatal, so you can see why that chocolate made this list. There are a lot of unpleasant things that can happen to your body just from this candy. We better stick with the sugary chocolates we can trust. Number 4, Lucas Mexican Candy. From the time it was made, this weird candy was really popular. Everyone wanted to taste. A couple of people were a bit worried about it though. That's because it was an odd sweet with weird flavors that the kids also took in weird ways. One of those weird flavors was chamoy, a flavoring that was salty and sweet. Kids were supposed to take out the lollipop and then sprinkle the powder on fruits or pour it straight into their mouths. The dangerous part was that some kids started to pour the candy on a table, arrange it in a line, and sniff it. People in both South America where it was made and the places it was exported to started to complain to the company. They even made some adverts to show how to properly enjoy the candy, but that didn't change anything. As if that little fun fact wasn't bad enough, the authorities also discovered that the candy contained over double the accepted amount of lead. Imagine getting lead up your nose. The nosebleeds would be terrifying. Starting now, things get even more dangerous. Keep watching until the end. Number 3, licorice. It turns out that licorice has been around for hundreds of years. The ancient Romans and Greeks used licorice plant as medicine. Even in England, it's still planted and sold as medicine. While some people believe that it could be used to take care of bronchitis and some other chest problems like heartburn, some others think it's not in any way good for people. That's because licorice has a substance called glycerism that could be really fatal to your heart. But now that there's licorice candy that we all know and love, the risk is even greater. Some scientists have realized that just eating 2 ounces of black licorice ropes every day for 2 weeks can cause your heart rhythm to change. That's usually the symptom of even bigger problems in the heart. But really, who eats that much licorice? Even without heart trouble, that much sugar can never be healthy. Number 2, exploding gum. Chewing gum can be pretty amazing. There are so many types and flavors. Strawberry, orange, mint, you name it. What's your favorite type of chewing gum? Tell us about it in the comments section. A lot of candy makers don't usually mess with the chemicals they put into their gum, but someone tried something really deadly once. Normally, gum is pretty safe. You can keep chewing it for hours, and some even melt in your mouth when you overchew. Ugh. But even when you swallow them, you can't get hurt. A student of chemistry in Ukraine was home on Christmas break and he wanted to do some experiments. He wanted to make his favorite gum even more sour. He initially discovered that when he dipped his gum in citric acid, it became perfect. So, one night he accidentally put it in the wrong bowl and then it exploded in his mouth. Till today, nobody knows what he soaked his gum in. Sadly, he died from the injuries. At least candy makers learned a good lesson from his death. Never ever try to make bubblegums that explode even just a little. It'll never end well. Number 1, Fun Dip. For a lot of people, the only thing better than candy is more candy. That's exactly what Fun Dip is. Except more candy can be super dangerous. Fun Dip candy is dangerous in a way that isn't so fun. The pack of candy has a few grams of powdered candy that you can scoop up. How would you scoop it up? Well, with another candy stick, of course. That sounds cool, but there's just one problem. That's a ton of unhealthy sugar. You could probably just open a jar of sugar straight into your mouth because that's just how much sugar it contains. Every pack of Fun Dip is about 13 grams of raw sugar. That much sugar can make you really sick when you take too much of it. And just as you guessed, that could have a terrible effect on your health. Now, one other huge problem with candies like Fun Dip is how people start using them in the wrong way. There have been reports that a couple of people have snorted the powder right up their noses. I guess they wanted that pure sugar hit. All they got hit with were nosebleeds and the possibility of lung problems. Anything going up your nose is never fun. Enjoyed the video? Now watch this one.